pickle. Hit the area sign. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, of course, when we overreact to the football weekend. And what a weekend it was across the state of Texas. A lot to overreact to in the football world. We'll start with my three big thoughts. Thought number one, proving grounds. As the results poured in Texas high school football across the state of Texas, what I thought was most notable was that you had a lot of teams that we just didn't know about, right? It's not that we thought that they were bad or we thought that they were overrated or we thought that they were, not as good as their record indicated. Mm-hmm. But they were facing big tests and arguably their first big test, and we wanted to see how they really measured up.
Gunner.
Perfect example. Gunner was a good example. Gunner took on Brock. Now, Brock's, we could spend hours talking about Brock because it's a weird situation. They're like Whitesboro's pretty good, but they're probably going to finish 6-4.
They're so good, and they make me look so dumb.
It's weird. Anyway, but Gunner had played 2 games, one against a private school and one against a charter school, Cedar Hill TLC. And just quite frankly, they're just a lot better than both those teams, and they treated them appropriately. But we found out, I think, a lot about Gunner on Friday night. I don't think they're perfect. I think there are things about them that are vulnerable. I thought their offense had a relatively off night, but their defense is legit. And I think they're the favorite in 3A Division 2. We learned a lot about that. We learned a lot about Anna. Anna welcomed in Salina in probably the biggest game in Anna football history. We had Mike Craven was there, and Mike Craven went to the game Anna in Salina. And he was like, I was talking with people. Let me see. He put some in the Slack.
He said that
he said something along the line. He talked to somebody. He talked to somebody who was like 70 years old, and he said, yeah, they were talking about this as the biggest game in Salina history.
Yeah, and I think that it was.
And there was, so they welcomed in Salina for the biggest game in Salina history, Anna history, and they beat them for the first time since the 70s, and they beat them with a second half comeback to get the win. So we know a lot about Anna now. That's a signature win for Seth Parr's ball club. Signature win. Here's one that maybe flew under the radar. New Caney. New Caney had a nice sparkling 3-0 record. Mm-hmm. But we're like, okay, let's see. They end up beating the Woodlands 14-7, kind of beating the Woodlands their own game.
Yeah.
They beat them like that. Very impressive from them. That's what we saw across the state in week 4. We saw teams with an opportunity to prove that they were for real, and many of them did it. Now, some of them maybe lost. I thought Wichita Falls Riders lost to Lubbock Cooper. A little bit dispiriting, but at the same time, that's a weird game. They played each other for the 9th time in 5 years. Less than 4 calendar years. 9th time. So, I don't know. At the same time, though, I do think, I'll give you another example. And not that they had played a lunch meet schedule, but Longview.
Yes.
Longview went on the road to Lufkin and drilled Lufkin.
Really
that doesn't happen.
It's 54-6 or something.
That doesn't happen. They don't drill Longview.
And that was just after Lufkin had gotten a very, very good win the week before.
Over Consolidated. You're absolutely right. So, overall, that was kind of what I took, was there were teams, programs with an opportunity to get big wins, and they did it. And especially, Anna was the one that really stood out.
Yes.
Because, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of eyeballs. That's a program that has not been good for a long, long, long time. And here they are welcoming in a rival, welcoming in a team that, is state-ranked. And
that crowd was awesome.
And they showed up. They showed up, as they should, for the biggest game in program history. That's thought number 1. Thought number 2, a harsh reality in the G5. Oof. So we're going to put aside the Power 5 teams in the state of Texas for now. Baylor got a win over Texas State. A&M had a nice bounce-back win over Miami, although their offense. Mm-hmm.
It is not good.
Texas beat UTSA, and then Tech went on the road, and they lost. To North Carolina State. I have some questions about some time management issues there for McGuire and company, but we're going to put them aside for a moment. Put the Power 5 aside for a moment. TCU didn't play, right?
No.
TCU was off.
Yeah, because they've got the skillet this week.
Yeah. For the past few years, we've really been reliant on the G5 to spark joy for us. Mm-hmm. We've really been leaning on them because A&M has been up and down. They had a great 2020, but 20 2021 was a bit disappointing. Texas, of course, the are they back or not, saga has been, going forward. Tech has been down with Matt Wells. The last few years with Gary Patterson have been disappointing. Baylor's been the real lone bright spot there. Mm-hmm. But even before last year, they were a little bit disappointing, right? So we've been leaning on the G5 a lot. That's why we were so excited about UTSA last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's why we were really excited about what Houston did last year. I'm very high on them this year.
And SMU.
UTEP last year, right? North Texas surging to a bowl game, right? I think it's time to recognize that this year, this ain't it.
Oh, it's rough. It's real rough.
This ain't it. Houston losing to Kansas at home is bad.
Very bad.
Now, Kansas is better, but there's big issues there.
That's not what you want to be doing before you're fixing to make your move to the Big 12.
SMU had an opportunity to really get a great win on the road at Maryland. They really let it slip. UTEP,
they are really bad.
It's down
really bad.
They're down bad. Texas State kind of got no contested by Baylor. They hung in there in the first half.
They had a really good first half. They looked good in the first half, and then it all crumbled.
Right. UTSA, I give them a little bit of a pass going to Texas. Whatever. There's that.
Again, they were an exciting first
relatively,
half.
Yeah, they were good first half. They pulled it late. I think the only team out of the G5 that comes out feeling pretty good.
Hoot.
Intensify that hooting, baby. Rice snaps I think it's a 13 game? 15 game.
I think it was 15.
15-game winning streak for Louisiana. And kind of surprisingly, stunningly. That's really the only
Rice, the team of Houston.
That's exactly right. Hey.
Well, and Texas Southern.
Texas Southern. We'll get them in a moment. Who has 2 wins in the city of Houston? It ain't UH.
The Rice Owls.
Hoot. Anyway, that's the harsh reality of the G5 this year. And thought number 3, a clean slate. So I don't know if you saw, but what happened in the Abilene Cooper and Lubbock Coronado game. So Abilene Cooper wins the game on essentially like a tip drill, run and catch, 64 yards in the final minute to beat Lubbock Coronado 33-28. And there was, I was reading up about it and stuff like that, and in the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, I believe this was, let me make you Stephen Garcia. Stephen Garcia got a quote from DJ Mann, friend of ours. DJ Mann, here's the quote. "We're one play away, man. It seems like for the last 3 weeks, we're one play away. But it's a new season." That stuck with me because, this past week, of course, we had a lot of open dates for big schools, 6A and 5A. Mm-hmm. And this week, it starts for real. All this conjecture, all of us arguing who's better than who, all of this arguing about what, all these non-district games, it's important to remember they're fun for us and they're good data points as we try to analyze what Texas high school football is going to look like for the next, 15 weeks. But in the end, they don't mean anything. Mm-hmm. You can be 0-4, you can be 4-0. Doesn't matter. Because if you lose the wrong games, the rest of the way, you're toast. That's it ain't nobody going to remember you started 4-0.
I was just going to say, we talked to San Antonio Davenport's head coach on Football Friday.
J.D. Zimmerhansel.
Yes, the man, the dancing man. And you asked him, you're like obviously the district is starting. Here's what really counts. He's like, oh yeah, it's great being 3-0. This has been fun, but we don't really care about this,
Right. It was, so whether you're 4-0, 0-4, somewhere in between, just know that really for a lot of teams, especially the big school ranks, it starts anew. 3 big thoughts. 3 helmet stickers. A helmet sticker for Paradise quarterback Austin Iglesias. He goes 9 of 11, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, 8 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. Steph came away really impressed by Paradise on Thursday. Baylor running back Richard Reese, the freshman out of Belleville, 19 carries, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns for the Bears.
We got to see Kyron Jones come in too.
Oh, good.
In the fourth quarter.
Shadow Creek's own.
Yeah, he needs to put on more muscle, but he's tall.
He was always smallish. Yeah.
He looked good, but he's very skinny.
And Manor running back Quentin Joyner, 26 carries, 208 yards, and 4 touchdowns for those mighty Manor Mustangs. 3 helmet stickers. 3 teams to watch. Katy Cinco Ranch. Did you see this?
You see this? You hear about this, Kev?
They not just beat Katie Tompkins, they drilled Katie Tompkins 42-14. That has me like having a lot of questions about Cinco, about Tompkins, about 19-6A.
Yeah, because that puts them as the second favorite in that district behind Katie.
Yeah, about Region 3. Like, I have a lot of questions. Keep an eye on Cinco
First
Ranch.
off, how
Big
dare
win
you.
for them. 42-14. They drilled them.
Yeah.
Texas Southern got a big win this past week. And I believe, I want to say it was one of their, Andrew Body was of course fantastic, but it's their first 2-game winning streak against, they got their first 2-game winning streak since 2009-2011. Win streak against Southern, I should say. They beat Southern 24-0. And it is, of course, Texas Southern was playing Southern, which is Eric Dooley's old school, and the coach there. This was a team that, like the shutout, the last time the Jaguars were shut out was in 2017, and the last time a SWAC school shut them out was 2012.
Wow.
Very impressive for Texas Southern. Not known for their defense, but great win for them. And finally, Toller. Let me draw your attention to what the Rattlers are doing, because the Rattlers are messing around and doing some big things. They're 4-0 now. They're entering their open date. Finished their non-district play unbeaten. Fantastic win last week over Comanche, 45-14. Really beat them badly. And remember, that's a 2A beating a 3A, and a good 3A, a previously unbeaten 3A. It's a great win for Toller. Keep an eye on them. There's 3 teams to watch. 3-C coming up this week. It's Battle of the Lakes week. It's Lake Travis and Austin Westlake going on this week.
Are they're at Westlake again? Because they were there last year.
That's what I've got it on my schedule.
All right.
That's how I'm make sure of that.
Yeah, because I covered that game last year. It was week 11.
Yeah, this is
And-
Lake Travis at Austin Westlake.
All right, back to back. I don't know
yeah.
how they did that.
Who knows? Who knows how these things work?
I
But a lot to glean from this. You know, what's the quarterback situation like at Lake Travis? How much has that defense improved, etc. First Battle of the Lakes for Tony Salazar and company. It's also Skillet Week.
Yeah.
TCU and SMU.
I think Craven and
I'll just-
Mallory will be there.
I'll say this. SMU gets a lot of flack for not filling up Ford Stadium. If they don't fill it up this week, I got no sympathy.
You can't be too busy boulevarding to go into the stadium.
This is you like the man who scorned you, quote unquote. I'm putting air quotes on that. Is coming back to town. That better be full.
Yes.
Big energy this week. And one of 12 battles of unbeatens this week.
This
How about
is hipster, and I love it.
How about Brownfield and Littlefield?
I love this. Do they call it the Battle of the Fields?
I don't know.
Because
If
they
do.
should.
Brownfield and Littlefield going on. I'll give you a quick sneak peek at our computer projections this week. Computers got it to pick 'em. Brownfield off to a fantastic start. Their offense has been humming. Keep an eye on that one. Brownfield at Littlefield. That's 3-C. That's Monday Morning Fallout.